I've met so many different people who keep different things that they actually feel a little bit of like shame or I don't know, like guilt when they keep it, be it like plastic bags, paper bags, even like, you know, like gifting ribbons that you kind of like recycle and
I
reuse.
keep that too, you know.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode, a ho Merry Christmas episode of Help Desk Teresa. I just got a stare from my producer because he not only made us wear these stupid costumes, but he also said I had to introduce it as a ho Merry Christmas Help Desk. I'm joined by Pris, and this time we're not joined by Alfie, but we are joined by Michelle.
Yay.
Also known as Rachel, also known as the TikTok girl. Some people in the public have called you that.
Yes.
Yikes.
How does it feel like being spotted in the public?
I don't think they actually like spot me, to be honest. I just happened to be doing a weird experiment that day.
Okay.
And I had to tell them that like we are from Mothership. And then they were like, ooh,
I've seen you.
was she on TikTok?
Yeah.
I was like,
They weren't saying like you were on TikTok. They were kind of
it's
asking a question.
Like, are
was
you?
she on
You look familiar?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
I see,
That was
I
the
see.
vibe that I was getting.
Yeah. So we've got these lovely costumes from our producers, Ashley and Ikmal. Thank you for them, I guess. Christmas, huh? What do you guys do for Christmas? Usually.
Usually.
Hanging out with my friends, going in a church.
Wow, interesting.
Eating.
dinner. But unfortunately, I'll be working
This year, wow, okay.
yeah.
Happens to
Yeah.
everyone once in a while.
Once in a while,
You have
yes,
to
it
work on a public
does.
holiday. That's what it's like when you work in a news business. I
That's
suppose.
true, yeah. But do you guys, does it matter to you guys if y'all have to work during a public holiday that you technically celebrate?
So you would, if you weren't working, you'd like what, go to church or something?
Yeah, I would go to church. I would eat with my family, meet friends. Yeah.
No, normally I enjoy not having to like go to my relative's house.
It's an excuse.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
you have a
Excuse though.
legitimate.
And like usually like it's like, you know, public holiday days are like slower.
They are.
Like
yeah.
news wise?
No, I
Oh.
mean just in general. Yeah,
Whoa.
just in general.
Oh, I mean like,
But I mean sponsored content never has to work on.
oh no, I've worked on holidays before. Like they will want to publish it for like Christmas promotion,
Yeah.
and then we'll be working. But actually no, I don't really mind. I think like work is just like work. If anything, I get another day off on another day, so that's fine to me.
Producers, you guys like working on public holidays?
No comment. I have never done that because
Yeah.
I'm an intern.
Yeah, an
so
intern.
I haven't done that yet.
Yet.
I kind of want to be working. So let's say if it's holidays, right? Then you have to go to, okay, let's say it's Hari Raya. Then I have to go to my grandparents' place.
Yeah.
Then they'll be like, actually, I won't have to go because I'm working, right? Then my parents will have to answer for me. Then they'll be like, yeah, he's working. Then I was like, wow, working hard like that. So I work as well. Then I was like,
So you get
and
extra
my-
points.
Yeah, I get extra points like my mothership. Then I'm like, wow, I didn't know there was a mothershipper in our family tree. Like that. Then I'm like, wow.
Mothership.
Is that mothershipper?
Is that what we
something
call
called?
ourselves?
I think from now on we do, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Speaking of Mothershipper, let's go to today's episode. You'll get used to this, Michelle.
Oh, wow.
This is how we transition our episodes.
Really out of the blue, I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
say. Okay.
Speaking of getting used to it, let's. I think we got a good episode in store for you guys, right, Michelle?
Okay, I think so. Interesting episode.
Okay, good. You'll hopefully see more of me. Let's just cut it there. Okay, so our guest today is the consulting consummate. She is an organizing queen that will put even IKEA to shame. Some people call her a Kinder Surprise with how she sparks joy in people's lives. I'm in love with Coco. She's in love with Marie Kondo. She's Singapore's very own KonMari Consultant. Welcome to Help Desk Esther Tan. Thank you so much for joining
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to take off this beard because it's impossible to talk with it on. Before we get right into the questions, can you tell us what is KonMari? What is the KonMari method?
Yeah, so basically the KonMari method was developed by Marie Kondo. So it's essentially just a way of organizing using specific flow of categories and really asking yourself what sparks joy, which kind of sounds a bit iffy to people, but basically it's just keeping things that make you happy in your space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty vague.
Yes.
What does joy mean? I don't know. Like
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if you think of it from a like practical aspect. So when you step into a space, like what do you feel about the energy of the space?
Okay.
Like the things that you keep in the space, they contribute to that energy. Yeah. So essentially keeping things that you really like and will be happy to maintain basically in your space.
Oh, interesting. And how did you get into this?
Yeah, so for me, I started getting to know about the method and Marie Kondo through her first book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. So from that book, I actually decided to kind of like do the method in my own space, in my own home. And then from then, she actually has a certification course that she launched. And I took that in 2020, so it's 4 years from now. So that's actually where I started. And now it's been 4 years.
You were like so into the book and that you like wanted to, I don't know, why would you, going from reading the book to like wanting to like...
I felt that it really helped me to look at my space in a different perspective because I was really tired of kind of like redoing the space every week. I get it tidy and then it becomes messy again. And the method provided me a different perspective.
Okay.
And I wanted people to experience the same kind of joy from doing that.
Yeah. Have you guys ever read the book or watched the Netflix?
Actually, no.
No?
No, yeah. Because I don't think... I feel like I can upkeep like, my space and stuff, but not to the extent of really like cleaning it out totally and like spending a time to do it. I think I would need like at least like a good maybe at least 2 to 3 days just to clean everything up. So usually what I'll do is if I have some time, I'll just take like a few hours to clean out my room and that's it. Like and it will probably maintain for like a week and it's back. And then I'll be like, I need to do this cleaning up again, and I'll be like, okay, one more week and I'll clean it up.
Yeah, okay.
Chris, are you a messy girl or are you...
Wow, actually, I'm okay. At home, my desk is really messy, but at work, my desk is really clean.
Okay.
So, like, I've heard of this phrase. It's like your mind is... Okay, I don't really know what the phrase is, but basically it's like if your mind is clear, your desk is clear. Right? Like it's like
cluttered.
It's a reflection of your mind.
Yes, it's a reflection of your mind. Yeah. So maybe at home I'm like my mind's really messy, but at work it's clear. I don't know. But I think like you mentioned something about like having clearing space and like only keeping the things that brings you joy.
Yeah.
But how do you know what brings you joy and what doesn't? Because for me, if I do try to like clear space, I hold very like sentimental values to like each thing, so it's very difficult for me to like clear my stuff. So technically everything gives me joy. So it's like, how do you like determine what are the things that is right?
Okay, so I think maybe we can take one step back to look at it because when people hear about the method, right, they always think that you probably live in a space where you have like 10 things and that's pretty much it, like a minimalist kind of view. But actually the method just requires you to have more intention about what you keep and also kind of like encourages you to have courage to remove what doesn't really bring out like that purpose or doesn't serve you any purpose anymore. So I think if you're looking at maybe like for your home, maybe there are a lot of different things that you haven't really had the time to think about, to process, because the tidying method that Marie proposed is really going beyond the physical state of the space, and there's a lot of emotional and mental input that you need. Yeah, so maybe that's why it's a bit more difficult when it comes to like personal items, like you said, sentimental items. And maybe for work it's easier, right? It's either you're doing it or not.
Maybe
No value.
not as sentimental.
Okay. Is there a difference between like the method and like minimalism?
I would say that the method doesn't basically encourage minimalism, but if personally you want to achieve that, then the method will also get you there.
I have the book actually.
Oh
wow.
I read like a few pages and then like once like I was like dating like I was seeing a girl and then she like made a comment about like, I thought only girls read that book. I never finished it. But it's still on my shelf. Yeah.
Like you bought it intentionally?
I mean, I was just kind of like, I think there was like a phase where like everyone was talking about like the KonMari method and like cleaning up your life. And like, I'm a really messy person anyways. So like, I feel like maybe I need some of this. So I got the book and then, just read a bit. And I thought it was interesting, the few pages I read. Yeah, but my life is still pretty messy. My room is still quite messy, so maybe I should get back to that book. Maybe after this conversation, let's see if you can
Okay.
like spark joy in me reading that. You can spark me to read that book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah. Michelle is a self-confessed hoarder, so I think we'll get into that.
No. So like earlier on, like you were saying, like to look at things and think of them with like intentions, like But for me, most things I have something like intentions for them. Like let's say like I keep paper bags, for example. Okay, I actually have a box that I set aside just for me to keep nice paper bags that I come across. So I do it with intention.
Yes.
But I'm also aware that most times I only use about 20%. Like I reuse 20% of these paper bags.
Yeah.
More often than not, they're just like collecting dust in that box that I have.
Okay.
Yeah, but is that considered hoarding?
Oh, this is a very good question because I've met so many different people who keep different things that they actually feel a little bit of like shame or I don't know, like guilt when they keep it, be it like plastic bags, paper bags, even like, like gifting ribbons that you kind of like recycle and
I keep
reuse.
that too,
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah.
Are you gonna like
Who knows?
put it
Maybe
on
I will
another-
have
you'll
like
use
a
it again,
purpose
right?
for it. Like maybe when I'm gifting it to a friend, then I'll be like, you know what? I want to spruce up this paper bag. I'll put a ribbon.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah.
Very
Okay.
thoughtful.
So I think I wouldn't consider that as hoarding in a way, but and I also understand that there's an intention, but maybe we can look at it like whether it's something that you enjoy maintaining, like maybe the volume of the item and the frequency of like how much you collect. Yeah, so sometimes it gets a bit out of hand, like it takes up a lot of space in your home that you would maybe otherwise use for something else that you enjoy, maybe like another hobby or something else. So if that's not the case, then I think it's fine because like I said, it's not about whether you keep like as little things as possible, right? So even for me, like I have a lot of things, like I have a lot of clothes and all that, but the main thing is that using this method, I get to manage them with the least amount of time needed, to keep it tidy, keep it clean. Yeah, so everything has a system in place. So I would say that if you can achieve that, then I wouldn't say that there's a problem in a way with the volume. Yeah.
Okay, as long as it doesn't go above one box, I think it's good lah. No, but I have to confess that actually I do have another box that I like. Okay, it's not really in a box.
Oh, I
'cause
got a lot of boxes.
the paper bags are too big. Like they can't fit inside this box of mine.
Yeah.
So I slide it in like some corner of my room instead.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a drawer? I have a drawer where I just chuck like random things into that drawer.
Yes.
I feel like everyone has one of
Yes.
those drawers.
It's
Do you
the
have one of
messy
those drawers,
drawer.
Esther?
Yeah. Well, not anymore.
No, okay. You used to.
Yeah, I used to, but I think some people have a messy chair as well, so it depends which
Oh, yeah,
furniture
yeah,
you
yeah.
use, right?
That's where you hang all your clothes.
I do.
No,
And your
like
bags.
the clothes that you can rewear for another day,
Yeah,
then you just
yeah,
like put it
yeah.
on the chair.
It's like they take turns, Sometimes it's on my chair, sometimes on my bed, or like if I need the chair, right, then I like move it around.
Yes.
I have one last question before we get into the audience submitted questions about the method.
Okay.
So we've talked a lot about like kind of physical, like keeping physical stuff. Is it possible to hoard like digital stuff? Like does like the KonMari method encourage people to like clear like their digital stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So I think we don't really take note of that because it doesn't really occupy physical space, right? But I think when it comes to like your phone, the photos, the documents that you have, even down to like your email, so that can also be applied. Obviously, it will be a different sense.
Yeah.
But the same principle would apply to digital documents and things that you collect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you guys delete your work emails?
Oh, no way.
No. So wait, you just
Work
like
email, like
as in like the emails that we get in our inbox and stuff like that, because we
Oh.
get so many emails, but
honestly, no,
No?
not really. Like, what if one day I'll need to use for it?
like to be honest,
Oh my gosh.
you do.
I do,
Chris.
okay,
Wow.
but for my personal email, when I get like discounts or codes, I will just leave them there.
Yeah.
But you can organize them into folders, I think, but I don't go the extra mile. I just, I'll leave it there until it expires. But I forget that it expires, so it's just there. But I open it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never delete any of my work emails.
Right?
I just
Yeah.
read it and then like I put them into folders. So I probably got like emails from like 5 years ago.
Same.
I don't know. I feel like they might come in
Right?
useful
Like, what if
someday.
like I don't know, 6 months later your boss asks you like, did you send this to me like
Yeah,
back then? I'd be like,
yeah.
you know what? Actually, I did, and I approve of it.
I live in fear. Yeah, I live in fear of my boss saying the exact same thing. Okay, shall we get into the questions that you guys have submitted? These questions were submitted through the link that is appearing on your screen right now. So if you have something that that is keeping you up at night, if you have something that you want to ask us for advice on, you can write to that link that's on your screen right now. Okay, let's do the first question.
This question is from Impulse Buyer, who says, my husband and I have been living together for a year, and we're both the kind of people who just throw things everywhere and leave stuff lying around. The house is always a disaster. Things are constantly missing and it drives me nuts. The worst part, we're equally messy, so he's annoyed at my habits and I'm exasperated with his. I don't think either of us will magically turn into neat freaks, but this is getting unbearable. Our current solution is to invite people over every week just so we feel forced to clean. But honestly, that's exhausting and not sustainable long term. How do we fix this chaos without relying on external pressure?
Actually, this is a very common scenario where
Okay.
I encounter with my clients. So to be honest, 1 year is a great time to kind of do this reset and look back at what the house is like, because 1 year living together, you actually get to know each other's habits, the way you use the house, the way you use the space, and that actually gives you an insight of how the space should be organized. And actually, even if you are messy, you will be able to follow a system that will be set up if, let's say, you use the KonMari method. So
Okay.
I think maybe because if you think personally that you're not someone that's tidy, then maybe the system that I would set up, for example, would not be so granular, would not be so micro, but maybe of a more macro kind of system.
Okay.
And
What's an example? What's the difference between like a granular system?
yeah,
and a
so for
macro?
example, let's say we were to organize your clothes, for example. So maybe for them, I would organize it like tops, bottoms, homeware, like maybe underwear, shoes, for example. But if someone who is more granular, you would maybe divide your clothes into these are for business, business wear, these are for going out, this is for active wear, etc.
Okay.
So more granular, but that also means that you need more time to maintain the standard.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
And how do you know that you are a granular person or like a macro person?
I think it will not be the same across the board. So maybe there are certain categories or certain things that you maybe prefer for it to be more granular. So
Yeah.
it could be for clothes, even maybe for your hobby items, for stationery, for kitchen items. So it really depends on your preference, I would say.
Oh, okay. So if you have more interest in the category, then you can be a bit more particular about it.
So you can be
Yeah.
like for Michelle, she can be really granular with her paper
People
bag.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
do them by
Yeah.
sizes.
By
the way.
sizes.
Okay,
You
yes.
organize it. That's
There
nice.
is some organization in that
Wow.
box.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe you can you go from paper to reusable to the gifting ones to the ones that
I
you-
do.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah.
I get it.
So I know which one to take out at the time. And I'll be like,
Wow.
I think there's something
You got
here.
a
Yeah.
folder system, like
Yes.
an index system going on.
I do have a organized chaos
Okay.
going on there.
Okay, Esther, can I ask you a
Yes.
personal question?
Yeah,
Did you get into the method before or after you were married?
Before.
Okay, so
Yes.
but were you already seeing your husband?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So was there a weird transition or clash when you were kind of going through this? I guess you were getting into this thing quite a bit,
Yeah.
and presumably the way that you organized your life or your living space was quite different before and after.
Yes.
Was it was he what the now you're throwing away all the I don't know stuff I bought you kind of thing?
Yeah. So it's a funny story because there are some things that he bought at maybe 5 years later. I'm like, actually this doesn't really spark joy, but I didn't throw it away because it's a sentimental item, right? So
Yeah.
I still allowed myself to keep it. But if you're talking about the going to the same space, living in the same house, I think at the start it was quite funny because I had a lot of high standards of how I want my space to be organized, and it was a very natural thing for me to do. But I think it's different, right? If you expect someone else to do it, and I think I learned that you can't really force someone to organize if they don't want to. Not that he didn't help, but I think because I'm the one who held the high standards, and I was the one who kind of like maintained the house. And I think eventually he did see the benefits of having everything in place. So there wasn't like any more questions like, oh, where did you find this thing? Where can I find this? So everything was always there. So the only thing I requested of him was to, okay, if you take something out from this place, like just put it back there. So I think over the years, we actually get that system going. And I think now we're in our third house. So he knows the system. And,
He's been well trained.
Yeah. Then sometimes he tells people like, the system works. I'm like, okay, he's a convert.
He's a convert.
Does he like, so do you, I mean, I know like part of the method is like when you are clearing your stuff, you like kind of, I don't know, hold it and then you thank it, right? And then you put it aside or something to get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean that's the way Marie portrayed it like in the Netflix series and her videos. But I think for me, I would say that that's the mindset,
Okay,
but I
you
wouldn't
don't actually
necessarily
physically
be kneeling down.
Thank
in
you.
the space. Yeah,
You
but
don't actually sit in that like submissive Japanese woman.
no,
pose and-
I don't know. But the mindset is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I must say that like you do look very Marie Kondo. I don't know if that makes sense. Like if I were to imagine what a Singaporean version of Marie Kondo would look like.
That'd be you.
No, I get that all the time, and I tell people like I look like this before I actually met her, so I'm not trying to copy her.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess it means that you were born to do this, so to speak.
I thank you.
Okay, so so this couple, this impulsive buyer,
Yes.
her and her husband, was it husband?
Husband,
Yeah.
husband.
Yeah, husband. How, like, if let's say one of them really wants to like clean up stuff and the other one is maybe like on the fence about it, how do you go about having that kind of conversation?
So the person that wants to clean up will be the one to start.
Okay.
And you actually only rely on the outcome of your own tidying, the whole journey. And that actually needs to kind of like prove the point that it actually works. So it doesn't work when you kind of force the person to join you. Yeah, so usually the one who wants to organize will start first, and hopefully that will inspire the next person to do that. Yeah.
Wow, but that's very hopeful. Like, what if like the case is I have already started, but then like maybe for like a month I've been trying to upkeep this thing, but this person on the other hand in the room is just not being very helpful, and I'm there like trying to clear all these things for like whoever the person is. I guess in this case her husband, right?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it get a bit tiring after a while? And then you're like, you know what? Maybe I would just go back into the old ways.
Right.
Yeah. So I think the underlying factor is that usually I tell my clients, whatever that you can decide on, you should organize. So maybe like in a home setting, she could organize. Maybe let's say the wife wants to organize. She could do like the entire house, but maybe not his belongings, like maybe not his clothes and all that. So if let's say the husband doesn't really care much about all that other stuff, then it will be organized. And I think in a way, the worst case scenario is that his things are just not organized, but the rest of the house is.
Yeah.
I think that's better than not organizing at all.
Definitely sending a message there. It's like,
Yeah.
if people come over, right, they're like, this really neat, but why is this so messy? It's like, yeah, it's his, so
He's in charge of that. That's his messy corner.
Yeah.
So in the future, when people come over to your house, Michelle, they'll be like, why is there so many paper bags in this corner?
It's mine. Like, now you guys know, okay.
What's
Yeah.
your most treasured paper bag?
Okay, I'm a big fan of like brown paper bag.
Just like plain brown
thick
paper
Yeah, honestly,
bags?
plain brown.
Oh, wow.
The thickness matters also. Ideally, if it's like a bit more like structured, then that's good, right? Because that will mean that I can put anything inside and it can hold.
Like with a handle?
Yeah, with the handle. Oh, I don't
Okay.
like the kind
I
where
was
it's
thinking
like.
that it's like you just fold like a
Oh
lunch
no,
bag. or
not that kind of like.
What?
But I like the ones with the handle that is like out of the bag, not like part of the bag.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's easier, nicer to hold also. Yeah, I'm a hoarder. I think.
Okay.
An
Interesting.
organized hoarder.
Yeah. But also, I like just now Leon Pris was saying about like sentimental values, right? Say, I mean, like in this case where it's like you and your husband, you guys like are already quite aligned as to we'll keep this, we'll not keep that.
Yeah.
What if, in a relationship you're just like very very sentimental, right? And then your partner is like not, and he's super into this like KonMari kind of like process and all.
Yeah.
He's like, please just like throw this. These flowers are from like 2 years back. Like it's dried, yellow, and I don't know. Like you're like, no, but I want to keep it. So what you say like fundamentally like most importantly is like communicating with your partner actually.
Yes, the communication matters, especially if like there are things that are shared, like a shared space, like shared things that you use. But I would say if it's down to like personal items that are sentimental, usually the person that owns the item will get the final say. So actually, when I do organizing with people that like have more than one person in the household, we don't do the sessions together at the same time. Yeah, so you cannot have someone else like kind of like standing by and looking at what you're throwing, what you're keeping. Yeah, so
you're
it's
throwing
like,
away that.
I think you need to throw this. Like,
yeah. So it's a personal process and journey. So you don't want someone to like stand there and like shame you or like make you feel guilty.
Yeah.
So that is the main part that's actually sometimes difficult to achieve, especially when you live with other people in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, how does it work with? Okay, so if someone kind of like comes to you and says, "Hey, I would like to." I don't know what's the contract your services.
Yeah.
Like what's the process from there?
So firstly, I will actually assess their space and see like where they're at in terms of like how much help they need, and then if they're fine with like me going into the space, then I would it's a one-on-one session that I go into their homes, and we actually follow a structure of categories starting from clothes, books, papers, miscellaneous, then sentimental items. So those categories will cover the entire home, but they will actually allow us to take it step by step basically. So clothes is supposedly the easiest, so that will help us to get a head start, and then sentimental items the last because it's very difficult to process those. Yeah.
And like how long does that whole process normally? Like how long are you with clients for?
Wow, that's a tricky question. Like it could be from like maybe a day's time to maybe like half a year. So it really depends on the space.
Half a year?
that's
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Like every week you'll be back in their house or?
Well, maybe not every week, but it really depends on their availability, right? So I would say in number of hours, maybe 50 hours for an entire home. Yeah, that
Okay.
would be an average time that I would need.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, there's a second part of that question that I was curious about. Like they always clean up when it comes to like they have guests over as an excuse to clean up, right? And I always wonder about that. Like, is it really possible to keep your house in tip-top condition like all the time? No, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is your house like that? Is your house like perfect? If we went to your house right now, would we be like, whoa, this is the house
Really,
of
like
a KonMari consultant?
Okay, so that's the external pressure that I get every time people come to my house. Like, your house is nothing. So it's like 50-50 because one part is like the house is organized and everything is in its own place. So basically what I say is everything has a home. So like your shoes have a home, like exactly where you put them. But it gets messy because the house gets used, right? It's not a showroom and I have a 2-year-old son.
Yeah.
So everything gets used, and let's say you cook, you host, etc. But the amount of time that you need to reset the space is minimized. Like maybe you need like half an hour to put everything back because everything already has a space to go back to. So the key that kind of like affects the clutter in your home is because the item that's lying around doesn't have a home to go back to. So that's the tricky part. Yeah. So if you come to my house, I would say that it's relatively organized, but yeah, it does get used, like the space.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
oh, but okay, let's say I mean like if I have a friend, right?
Yes.
And then they're living say with their parents,
Yes.
and then the place is okay, I mean like a better word is like they're hoarding quite a bit of items, right? But in most cases that you are giving, and even in the one that we read, right, they are all coming from a place that I actually want to do something for my house.
Yes.
Right. So in this case where like my friend is living in with their parents and the place is just always messy because of like the way that they have been growing up and like the parents like habits are like and all, then is it gonna be easy to try and like, you know, effect change in that situation?
I would honestly say that it's quite hard. So like I said, the person that wants to change has to start first. So if let's say like he or she owns their own room, then maybe that's the place that they will start with. And then if let's say the parents see that, oh, this is a amazing change that they also want for the rest of the house, then that's great. But it is quite difficult, I would say. And maybe some parents, they don't mind like giving the whole process up to their children to manage. But if they are very, they like to control like what's in the space, what's in the kitchen, then it's quite difficult. And I would say like not to kind of like go ahead and like, do it for them as a surprise, because you might not stay in that house anymore. Yeah, you might not stay there anymore after that. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, like I'm also thinking elderlies, right?
Yes.
Do you find that like tendency to be hoarding items?
I would say that it's common. It's more common that they have the mindset that they keep things that they probably don't need now, but they have like a what if, like someday I will use it kind of mindset, and that can be applied to everything, right?
Yeah, especially electrical appliances.
So
I've
many
got a box, so I
things.
just throw all like the electrical plugs inside because I
Yes.
feel like one day I might use it. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah. So I think for that, I feel that sometimes telling them that there's an outlet to donate to or like to recycle them, it helps. Or like someone else that needs it can take it in. They don't feel that the item goes to waste. So that actually helps them. But other than that, I would say the decision making is longer.
Right.
for them to
So
let go.
funny story. My grandfather, I don't think he thinks that he's a hoarder. But I know like my relatives and even my parents, like they will want to go in and try to throw some of his stuff away, right?
So they feel he's a hoarder.
Yeah, they feel that he's a hoarder. But obviously to my grandfather, he's like,
He's not.
these are perfectly fine items and like I need them and I've been keeping them in my house for so long. So why do you want to come in and
What kind of items are we
change
talking
things
about?
up? I don't know, man. Really, anything. Seriously, anything. It can be like, I don't know. He has this habit of like collecting water.
Water?
Yeah, like
do you mean?
rainwater. Okay, but he uses that
Does
to
he
like,
know that we have like
water-
we have a pipeline with Malaysia now?
Yes,
We
but
got
he
a
uses
deal
it to
with them.
like water his plants, for example,
okay.
you know. So it's like he will like have a few bottles of that at home and stuff like that. But then to my relatives and even my parents, they'll be like, yeah, we have this pipe, like just get the water from the tap and all. Then sometimes they will try to like distract him, right? And then another person will go and clear his stuff like
Oh no.
secretly, yeah.
knowing,
So
yeah.
actually, is that good? I assume not, based on what you have been sharing so far.
I think there'll come a time where there's no more water left, right? So you will realize. So I would still say no, like not to do that, because you want the person that you're trying to help to be fully on board with what you're trying to do. Like whether it's organizing like the whole space or even just like cleaning up. Yeah, like you want the person to be on board. So that will probably benefit the person and also your relationship with the person in the long run. Yeah.
I actually have a question. So, I think many people, they hoard stuff or like they keep stuff is because they want to be sustainable or like they don't really want to spend extra money to like buy new stuff that they can already use from their old stuff. So I think maybe that's why your grandfather keeps water, because he doesn't want to like
I mean,
up
I
his
assume
water bills.
I'm his granddaughter because I also keep people like bags.
yeah,
you know,
you get
it's-
it from him.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you determine whether something is good to keep like for sustainable causes or like
Oh yeah.
for you to just throw it away and like you can always get it if you need to, because there's like a difference, right? Like you only have stuff for like what you really need, but then what if like this is good in the future?
Yeah, so I think that can be applied for many things, right? Whether it's like simple things like paper bags or even like down to clothes. Like, do you actually keep them so that you can reuse them again next time? I think it really boils down to the quantity and how much you can manage. Because if let's say you have a system, right, to manage your paper bags and it gets used and you get like, you actually collect and there's the whole system going on, I think it's fine. But if you are just kind of like keeping it and storing it somewhere, I would say that's not really sustainable, because if it gets broken or it disintegrates, you probably won't use it anymore. And that really doesn't help it could have been given away to someone else that could use that item and save the money in buying a new one. So it really boils down to to how much time you can invest in maintaining it. Yeah.
I have one last question about impulse buyers question.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just going off the pseudonym that they use. This is someone who likes to impulse buy stuff, I'm guessing. Does the method have anything to say about like buying things and like that whole like consumerism and,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Okay, so I think for the whole buying like behavior, right? Actually, if you actually do the method for yourself, like do the organizing, and because actually through the process, you really think carefully like what you really like, what you really value in your home, and even like down to maybe like, let's say, clothes. What kind of clothes do you really like to keep for yourself? What suits you? And when you go through that process mentally, you actually use that same mindset when you actually buy something new. So if let's say you buy new clothes again, the benchmark or the threshold that you would pay for something, it's way higher than if you didn't do the process. And I wouldn't say that you won't buy any new clothes anymore in your entire life, but whatever that you are gonna bring back to your home, you are more intentional and you take more time to think. Yeah, so I would say that actually helps. Then you will not be kind of like attracted by like the sale or whatever, because if this is something that you buy and you know that you need to give away or donate in a year's time, then it really doesn't help, right? The like, you know, from a environmental point of view as well. Yeah.
Okay, so impulse buyer. To sum up,
Think
what have,
carefully.
what have you said?
We say many things.
twice.
You said a lot of
Twice.
things. Rewind and watch some of that stuff. I don't know what in summary, what can we
If
say
you
about-
wanna, really make that change, you should start with yourself and your space. Please don't try and go into your partner's space and try to correct things
Yes.
as well. And they should be on board and communicate like your plan.
Yes.
It's okay that they have a little messy corner of their own, while yours is very neat, perfectly fine. But also, I guess, when it comes to the second part, like about stress packing when people are coming over, I guess it's okay. More often than not, we all need a bit of like a, not trigger, but just a catalyst,
push.
a little push that forces you. But like what Esther was sharing, how much time do you need to like revert your space into this clean and nice space that you want to invite people over to? That's something for you to think about.
Yeah.
Make sure everything has its home. That's what I remember
Yes.
from everything we're talking about.
Okay, the next question is from Picked in High School. And Picked in High School shares with us, hey Mothership, if life can be divided into 5 phases, I think I'm well into my 3rd phase. Safe to say I've made tons of friends, some of which I've known for all my life. However, there is a great group of friends I made in secondary school that I've yet to reconnect with for close to a decade now. They were a huge part of my life back then, but now it feels like it would take a lot of effort to rekindle the relationship. However, I do feel a sense of regret for not trying, considering how much I value them. But I also understand that it will take a lot of time and effort, which I don't think I have the bandwidth for anymore. So is it still worth holding on to these friends in my life, or is it okay to let them go for good? So
Wow.
Wow.
Let go of them for good. Okay, peaked in high school. Does the KonMari method apply to things like this?
Relationships.
I
Should
would
you
say
cradle a friend and say like thank you and then set them
Bye.
aside?
I would say that the perspective kind of has a parallel to
Okay.
relationships, and maybe like other things in your life that's not like a physical item in your home. So because the term is always like what sparks joy, right? So I would say that when it comes to relationships, maybe it's something that you need to also kind of filter and declutter, because there's a lot of energy and mind share that you put into relationships that you choose to have in your life. So I would say that there's a parallel to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you apply that in to your like relationship?
Do I let them go for I would say yes.
Yeah.
For certain relationships, like maybe friends in the past, etc. So and I think it's not something that I feel bad about in a way, because I think everyone has I don't know, maybe it's like when you grow up and then you think like you don't have much time anymore. So
Yeah.
I think I value the relationships that I have. So I put a lot of time and effort into those. So I would say that there's a threshold of like how much I put in. So if
Yeah.
the relationship is not a two-way thing, then I would let it go.
Have y'all seen the flowchart of who to invite to your wedding online?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like,
No.
like, have you talked to them for the past 6
Yeah,
months?
I've seen that
You've
before,
seen
yeah.
that before, yeah.
Yeah.
So if like you don't, then you don't invite them to your wedding. Basically, like filtering out people who you invite to your wedding based on how much contact you've had with them,
Yeah.
or like how much value they add to your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe to, yeah.
But
you
Pris,
can
I mean,
try.
you're so young. Like,
No,
10,
I mean,
yeah,
hey, it
10
doesn't,
years ago,
Yeah.
like, most people are.
it doesn't have to be for weddings. I mean, it can like just be the people in your life, or like, let's say, who the people you wanna continue like giving your energy to, or like just sharing, like important people lah. You know.
I keep some friends in boxes. Then occasionally I take them
In
out.
the corners of, like,
Good, yeah.
next to the paper
That's my
bags.
parallel.
Yeah.
Next to the paper bags.
Do you
I don't know,
categorize
yeah,
them?
like I think I do keep in contact with like my secondary school and even some is like a few of my primary school
When you say in
friends.
contact, like, what are we talking about? Like a
Ooh,
group
ooh.
chat? You actually meeting
I
with
do
them in
I do
person?
have a group chat with
Yeah.
like my primary school friend, my
Yeah.
secondary school friend. Like I meet my primary school friend pretty often.
Yeah.
Like every quarter we'll do at least like once. And then we'll like update everything about like our lives and stuff. Yeah, so
Did you say primary school?
yeah, primary school.
Wow, that's nuts. Okay.
Yeah, nuts, right? But I think how I look at friendships is that like it takes effort
Yeah.
and intentionality, and it also takes like the effort from the other person
Yeah.
to build the friendship and make sure that it's something that they also want to build lah. But I think like the idea of like friends that spark joy, they can spark joy like even after like 2 years of not talking to me, and when we meet again, yeah,
Or
so
like low maintenance
Yeah, low
friendship.
maintenance
Yeah.
friendship. Yeah.
Yeah.
so then do you I wouldn't think of like, okay, then it's time to say bye because it's been 2 years, you're kept in the box, not coming out, and like, you know, but like, oh, 2 years later I hit you up and you're like, yeah, let's do a catch up. Then that would be nice.
I do have friends that are very like intentional about like, oh, I don't need these people in my life.
Ooh.
So they'll just like
Oh, so it's like
Yeah.
upfront.
like
Do
they, I mean they just
Oh.
won't stop contacting these people and things like that. I mean, thankfully I guess they've told me that, so like I am
You
still
know,
being,
yeah.
I'm still
Oh,
in the
you're still in the
I'm still
loop,
valued
yeah,
to them.
yeah.
Yeah, so still in the loop. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't see the point of that actually, honestly. Sorry. I mean, you guys know who you are. But like why do you, I don't know. Like I guess
Keep
you
them
don't
in
have to make the effort to go and like, you know, constantly keep up and be like, hey, how are you doing? Like every week or something like that. But like, what's wrong with like just catching up once every 6 years or once every few months or something, or once a year or whatever, and just seeing how they're doing. I don't see what's wrong with that. But I mean, I guess with this, you know, the question that we've had today, that person really feels like quite tired and doesn't have like
Yeah.
the bandwidth to do it.
Maybe it's their way of like filtering people, like the most efficient way. Cause like it takes effort to like, oh, by the way, like, you know, like to also tell you that, oh, I'm gonna like cut you off from my life. I don't know.
Oh.
Like sometimes people are just blunt. They just like, oh, I will just stop talking to you, or like I'll
Yeah,
just delete
yeah.
my contact.
Yeah.
You can't contact me at all. And
Or if they
Yeah.
contact you, then you like they don't reply. or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's like
yeah.
their way of like filtering people out.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's blunt, but some people do it. I've known people who do it as well.
Do you guys ever get invited to like weddings where it's like someone from like ages ago, and like you haven't caught up with them for like a few years, and then they just like randomly invite you to the wedding, and then you don't know, like, do you feel like you have to go, or will you just not go?
I'm not of age to say.
Oh.
I have not been.
You only have primary school friends. Dramatic. Yeah, I don't know. I get that every now and then now. I guess I'm a little bit older than Pris
Just a
and
bit.
Michelle a little bit. Yeah, but I do have been getting like invitations from people that I haven't spoken to for a while, and I have no problem saying no.
Oh, you
Yeah.
don't?
Yeah, I just say
Oh
no.
my gosh. I
Yeah.
would go
Really?
Even if you're not close to them.
Huh?
Even if you're not close to them, or like.
I think how I think about it is if you've offered me and you have extended an invite to me, I assume you wanted me to be there to celebrate with you, and I would be happy to celebrate with you, even though we haven't been talking for like say 5 years, and 5 years later you suddenly tell me that you're getting married. I'm so happy for you. I want to be there, but perhaps
Even if it's gonna cost like $200 a head.
so maybe my red packet will be adjusted,
lower.
but will I be there? Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would.
I will not be there.
Oh.
I mean, maybe it's like similar to your like the checklist, right? Like the
flow chart.
MyMac thing. But yeah, I think for me, I don't want to be like the seat filler, you know, like because I do feel like sometimes people like they want you to be there, but they invite you like 2 months before, and it does feel like you were like the backup plan, like you were on a backup plan
Right.
list. Yeah, so I think it depends, but if I feel that was the case, then I would probably not go.
Yeah. Do you? are the only one who's here who's married, right?
Yeah.
Like, did you have like how did you decide your guest list for your wedding?
I think it's similar to the flow chart, I would
Okay.
say. Yeah. So maybe like people that I have been in contact for the past year, and like, the inner circle people, family, and actually also people that I feel that I would want to be in contact with from now on.
Okay.
Yeah, so that actually helps, because if not, you'll really be inviting like everyone you know in your life, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's more people that you still want to be in contact with from the wedding on.
Yeah, I feel like a wedding would be like the perfect like event for like a KonMari specialist, because it's first of all, it's
Yeah.
like
First of
purposeful
all-
like guest list, but then also organized into like tables based on like what category.
How near to the
Yeah.
stage you will be.
But then it's always like
yeah.
the randoms table. I've been on the randoms table
Oh.
like once or twice, and it's just people from like all different
man.
walks of
All over.
life.
You can
And
put me
then
in a random
the
table.
whole night it's just like, oh, so how do you know this person? How do you know this person? Oh, that's interesting. I know them from this. It's not fun conversation, I would say, unless you get a really good random
Random
table.
table, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be quite disappointed if I'm seated at a random table.
Oh, really? You feel like it's a slide on you?
No, then I mean you will just go to say that I'm really on this like
Backup list.
Yeah.
Right?
Really? You think so? But what if you have a
so.
friend where it's like, okay, you
Just
are
me?
like their only friend from this category of life, kind of. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like I've got one friend that I keep in contact with from primary school. I've got, well, technically two. One of them cuts my hair, but like so if they got married, right? Like, I kind of would be at the random table because they don't have any other. They don't maybe. Oh no, sorry. If I got married, they would be on the random table. Yes, because
there's no
I don't have any
mutuals.
other primary school friends
Yeah.
that I keep in
Oh
contact
wait, so
with.
will you invite to the two of them or like? Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
quite
I gotta invite the other guy so he can
Yeah.
cut my hair for my wedding, right? Yeah, right. But like, yeah, I would invite both of them. So it's like two of them at like the random table and their partners, I suppose.
I guess if
Yeah.
you know the reason why you're on the random table, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Because like you know that like, you don't have any other
Yeah.
mutual friends with
Yeah.
the bride or groom. But like if you just put there and you're like, actually, why am I here? Like I know people from
the
other
other tables.
tables.
That's worse.
then that's why you know that you're like, okay,
I'm second choice.
yeah, seat filler.
Random table or random box of things, is that encouraged in the KonMari method?
No.
No.
So if
Everything must have.
yeah, everything has a home, everything has a category, a space that the thing goes to. Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to try to avoid that like random drawer, random box kind of
Huh.
situation.
What if it's just like a trinket? I was almost going to use the word trinket.
No
Random
category.
trinket, yeah.
So is that like a sentimental item or like
Oh.
collectible? Like it can be categorized. So
Okay.
I think the key is to, let's say you collect like trinkets, right? And then to you it's in a random box, but then you realize that it keeps accumulating. So then you need to set up like a space, right? Maybe you buy a proper box, right? Then that's where new trinkets will go in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of like, I mean, like, because you mentioned sentimental things,
Yeah.
right? And our friends are, I guess, sentimental things. Like, how do you make a decision on whether to get rid of like a sentimental thing or not? What's the threshold?
Yeah, so that is quite tricky because so one step before that, we actually do the sentimental items only after we do like every other thing in the house. And for the sentimental item, I think it's not so much about like whether you should throw it away.
Okay.
Yeah, so if let's say it's something that you bought like a souvenir, etc., then it's about whether you want to keep it in a box or like you want to display it. So like how do you want to keep it, and it should kind of be showcased and taken care of in a way that kind of like honors the item. Yeah, but if it's something that is given by someone or has that relationship tied to it, I would say that if your relationship with the person that gave you that item is still good, then you should keep it. But if not, then you should give
okay.
it that you should like get rid of it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I keep it. Even if like right now I'm not on like good terms or like talking terms with like some
Yeah.
of them, I think like bringing it out reminds me of the good times that we had.
What are we talking about?
I think
Like
that's
X
why.
and X
Oh
or
no,
something
no,
like
no,
that?
no, it's just like
okay.
friends that you lost contact with.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Then I would. Gosh, I'm just a
Yeah.
hoarder lah.
No, okay, wait. I would say that it's not whether you are still friends with them now, but whether like the memory to you is a good or bad one.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it still like holds a good memory to you, then I think it's fine to keep it. So you don't want to keep things that like bring you like bad memories. Yeah. So yeah, that's probably what. I would
Like if I look at this card, I'll be like, oh my god, this person betrayed me too. Yeah, burn it.
Have you ever gone to a client's house and then helping them clear like their sentimental stuff, and then it's all of a sudden it's like a box of like stuff from like their exes or something like that?
Yes, I would say like things from the past, definitely.
Okay.
There's a lot of scenarios like that. And actually that's pretty hard because for some people it's not really like, just relationship from the past. It could be something traumatic like from the family or
Oh, yeah, okay.
maybe like lost a baby, etc. So even when we touch on the things that are not sentimental, maybe let's say like baby clothes, for example, and that actually kind of like sparks those emotions, and it's quite hard to kind of like get through it. So we do need time to like mentally process it and make sure that we don't just like, okay, can you decide whether you want to throw it or keep it, kind of thing. Yeah, so that's why the process is quite emotionally, like it requires your emotions to be reviewed in a way.
Did you have any like interesting experience with like one of your customers or clients in that sense? Like something that you actually remember?
I would say, without disclosing too much, yes. But I think that actually just allows me to kind of like hold the space for them. Yeah, because we spend so much time together, right? If I organize like your entire house, we spend like 50 hours together. I don't know if you can like count the 50 hours with like another close friend, like if you ever like, have that amount of time together. So I think I actually get to know the person on a more personal level, and they might like share things with me that maybe they don't like actually have the time to share with someone else. So I think when it comes to those times, it's really like holding the space for them and like having no judgment, and just making sure that this is part and parcel of the organizing process. So I think during those times it's not so much about whether like we should throw or keep the item anymore, but how does this experience like impact them in terms of how they want to live their life like after the organizing, and whether is there anything that we can do to kind of like make the home a more happy and comfortable environment for them moving forward.
I mean, like, that's like going through someone's stuff with them must be like crazy person. You like know their whole life story.
Kind of, yes.
I remember when my granddad died, and then we were kind of going through his stuff, and it's like, you just kind of see his whole life in items, right? He had like all these things from his like, he spent his whole life working for Shell. So he had like all the things from like his like whole like lifelong career at Shell. You can just kind of see like when he got like his like 10-year service award, 20-year service award, 30-year whatever kind of thing. It's kind of like people's lives like really told through all their things. I mean, I personally and feel like I'm quite sentimental, so I find it hard to throw stuff away. I definitely have a box of just like, I don't know, like random notes that people have written to me. I don't think I would be able to bear the part with those kind of things.
I think you don't have to. That's the beauty of it. It's the sentimental category of the whole process is more of like a category for you to appreciate and to kind of like remember what pushes you on, what gives you the motivation. And the home is just set up so that those things kind of like shine in like, if let's say it's something that, let's say the awards, it can be displayed. So things that kind of remind you of like what you're doing, what's your purpose. So not so much about whether you should keep or throw.
Okay, let's go back to the question from Peaked in High School. And you can go one round and we can say, what do we think he should do with this group of friends that he hasn't met up with for a while? Chris, your primary school friends.
Do a simple flow chart, but to your own standards and what's important to you. So if you feel like what you're prioritizing now is the value or like the quality that you have of the people around you, or like your energy, the amount of time you want to spend with these people, then can just do a flow chart. Like would you be able to see this person like more than once a week? No, throw them out or something.
Really?
Like, I don't know. Like it
Why
depends.
so calculated?
Depends. I mean, if you are a calculative person like that, but if
Like
not,
Chris.
then you can just rewind and read and watch like our shortlisted advice for you.
Okay, wait. I have a question. Like, is it wrong to just have, like, do you have to maintain a relationship with the purpose of it, like, I don't know, having like being like a consistent thing? Why can't you just like meet someone like just once and like, okay, see you when I see you, kind of thing? Is there anything wrong with that?
No, but I think it gets to a point where if you are tired and if it really takes too much time, like too much of your time and energy, then
Yeah.
it's time for you to reconsider. But if you are okay with where you are now, I feel like you don't really have to be so calculative about the people around you. But you know, sometimes people are like social butterflies and like they have so many contacts around, and if they feel it can get overwhelming for them. So maybe that's when they need to like, okay, maybe I need to draw a line where like these are the people that I'll just say hi and bye to, and these are the people that I will meet up with. Yeah, because you can't like, you only have so much energy. I feel.
Yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
I think my advice to people in high school would be, I mean, if you feel like you have to maintain something, of course that's going to feel tiring. Of course that's going to feel like it takes up your bandwidth. So you have like your close circle of friends that are like your, I don't know, like the people that you know you can count on no matter what. Those are the relationships that you have to maintain, I suppose, right? That, you know, it's a give and take kind of thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with having friends that you just say hi and bye to, or you just like meet up like once in like 10 years and just, you know, as long as they're good with that, like that doesn't have to be like that kind of obligation that like you have to continue to keep up with each other. Who knows though, if you meet up with them, you might feel like, hey, this is a good vibe. Like I do want to hang out with these people more and keep up with them a bit more. And if that's the case, if like it's kind of fun and you're enjoying it, then it probably won't feel that tiring, I would imagine. But don't feel afraid to like, I don't know, just like text them and say, hey, I was just thinking about you the other day, and like I kind of miss some of the times we spent together, and then just see where that goes. But if it feels tiring, then just stop. I don't know, I do that all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just randomly
That's
drop
very
in on
nice.
people and just be like, hey, like I was just thinking about this thing that we did ages ago. How are you doing? And then when they reply, I don't reply.
You're just like, I just need to tell you this.
I was
Yeah.
sentimental for that moment. Okay, Esther, what would your advice to people in high school be?
I would say don't be afraid to just let them go.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think if like they come back again and then you reconnect, then that's fine. But I think at this point, like don't need to feel bad about protecting your energy and protecting your time. Yeah. So that's what I'll say. Yeah.
Michelle?
Picked in high school, my answer to you is, if you're already asking this question, you probably already have an answer in your heart. And I'm guessing it's no, because if not, you wouldn't even be considering the whole idea, like whether or not you should keep. Because I think you're thinking about not keeping them, but you are looking for someone to tell you that it's okay to say no. But also evidently, most of us are telling you that it's like, it's all right. I mean, up to your own standards of like trying to keep your friends and whatnot. Yeah, and if that's the case, then I guess it's okay to say no. But my advice to you, I would say, is like give them or this friendship like another try. Like maybe ask them out for like a meal and just see how like the whole conversation goes. Like if it's giving and you're like, you know what, it's giving good vibes, then I guess no harm, you know, keeping it for a while more, the friend.
No, wait, okay. I think this is the legit vibe that I have. You should leave it up to the universe to give you a sign. Like if you
Why?
bump into them the next 2 weeks, then it's a sign that you should meet up with them.
But okay, no. So the thing is, I think that's quite like not choosing.
Not
And you're
choosing.
already choosing. Not choosing is
You're
making
leaving it
a
up to the
decision.
universe. Letting the universe show you a sign. You don't believe in universal signs?
I think that's quite loserish. Like
Damn.
the it's like you already have a decision, but you're just like, lack of a better word, like don't have the courage to like make that decision. And you're saying like, you know what? I'll just leave it up to fate.
What if the default is like, okay, I cut them out. But then in the next 2 weeks, you bump into them.
Oh, okay.
Then,
If that's the case, you have already made a decision, but the universe gave you a sign. Then it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to take that as a sign or take that as a test. Like, you know?
Yeah.
If you take it as a sign, then I guess you will go out with them another time. But if you take it as a test, whether or
The
not you will
universe is
continue to say
testing you.
no, then you should say no. Yeah. But I think like leaving it up to like the universe is like saying like, oh, if I'm trying to clean out my house, right? I don't know whether I should or not, but you're just waiting like one day like your house burns up and everything is gone. Then you're like, there was the sign to clean my house.
Yeah,
you
don't
know?
leave the paper bags next to your scented candles. That's what will happen.
Oh yeah. I did not think about that.
That's all the time that we have on Help Desk for this episode. Esther, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find more about the stuff that you do? Where can people get your services if they need help?
Yeah. So you can reach me at Your Tidy Half on Instagram, or you can go to my website, yourtidyhalf.com, and book a complimentary consultation just to get started on like, you know, how should I help you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. And then given that it is the end of the year, maybe a good New Year's resolution to have, huh?
Yep.
To get your life or
Sort
your
it
living
out.
space cleaned up. Okay. Thank you, Audio-Technica, for powering this podcast. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye. Okay, so how would you rate my desk out of 10 in terms of like, does it give you rashes?